Let's talk about your brushes. As I mentioned, these are a softer synthetic brush, makes them very versatile for all sorts of uses. So this is going to be great. We're going to do our little plein air painting with them. I'm going to also demo now the different shapes and sizes and what you can do with them. So let's get started. Okay, let's get started. We're going to go through the brushes and I'm going to show you what you have in this little set. Different sizes of different brushes. So we have flats and shaders. And these are a flat brush, just like it says. These are just a variety of sizes for you. You've got really tiny, which is nice for small things like windows on a building, little pathways. I think flats are the most versatile brush. I use them all the time because you can make flat, heavy strokes as well as thin. So we're going to demo that. Angle brush is cool for a few special techniques, which I'll show you as well. It's just like a flat or a shader, but it just has an angled edge there. And we have rounds, which are really popular too. You can do a lot with a round brush, and this is just a few different sizes. And I want to show you, a lot of your brushes when you buy them will come with this little plastic protector on them. Discard that, because if you start trying to put it back on your brushes to protect them, lots of times you might get the little hairs caught and then the brush gets a little out of shape. I'm going to show you how to clean and keep your brushes in good shape. So I would discard the little plastic protective covering. There's our sizes we have in some rounds. And a filbert, you have a few filberts here. They look very much like a flat or a shader, don't they? But if you look close, the tip is curved. And I really like this for painting flowers. So we'll do some demos with that. And then the fan brush, which is really pretty cool as well. This has got a great texture. You can use it for fur, for grasses, for trees, texture of all sorts. So you've got a great selection of brushes there. Let's start with the flats, and what comes in your kit is a few different sizes. You have a 4 and a 4, 6, and 8, so that's great, gives you graduated right up in the sizes. So for instance, let me just take, I've taken out a few colors that are from your kit here in the acrylic paint, and I'm going to just show you what you can do with a flat brush. And you can get some nice wide lines with a flat brush. You can use a little pressure and get a really wide line. And then you can also just use it on the chisel edge, and look at what a thin line you can get there too. So really versatile. This is the largest one in your set, and you can do a lot with this, filling in skies, backgrounds, grasses and things. But when you get to some detail work, the little sizes are really handy to have as well. And again, you can do the same thing. You can get a nice flat straight line. You can also get the thin lines, and you can vary it. You can go ahead and by using different pressure when you're painting, you can get different designs. You can start thin, press, get thicker, get a little thinner, press, making some really neat patterns. You can do that with the bigger brushes too. Sometimes I'll go and do, just for exercises, it's kind of fun to take your brushes out with some paper. It could be just computer paper or something, and just practice your brush strokes. And that really is helpful. You can get all sorts of fun things with these flats. So I'm going to rinse my brushes off now as I go. You don't want to leave your brushes sitting in your water, especially that will bend the tips and it will get water up into the ferrule here. And what happens is if you start getting excess water up in the ferrule here, it's going to start to disintegrate the glue that's holding this together, and your brush will just fall apart. So in between colors, it just takes a second. Just give it a good rinse, and I pat my brush dry as I go, because when I go to do my next stroke, I don't want a lot of water in my brush that's going to then bleed into my paints. So I always give it a good swish and wipe it off on a paper towel. A lot of times I'll keep a paper towel right here next to my palette to lay them on after I dry them off. So now we've got the angle brush, which, like I said, is very similar to your flat. And I like to do I'll do a couple of techniques with this. Sometimes I will get the brush with a little water on it, get a little bit of paint on just the tip of my brush, pat it out on my palette there a little bit, and I can then get kind of a graduated brush stroke. I've got water, a little bit more water on one side, a little bit more pigment on the other, and it's kind of nice. This is a great brush for getting into little places if you need to. It's, you could, paint flowers with it. It's really a fun brush to play with. It has a nice chisel edge. Again, you can use it for making thin lines. I'm going to make some lines down here that we're going to turn into trees in a minute with our fan brush. So again, I'm rinsing it out after I use it, patting it off on my paper towel, sort of reshaping the bristles a little bit. So we've done our flat, we've done our angle. The round brushes, they are great for a lot of techniques too, because you can take your round brush like your flat and get heavier lines and thinner lines. Now, I am rinsing these brushes off before I start. These are brand new out of the package. Brushes will come with a little sizing on them, so you just want to rinse them off, get that sizing off, and you get your nice soft brush to work with. Also, when you're painting, try not to get the paint off the tip up into the ferrule or onto the handle. There again, you're going to get that paint inside the ferrule there, and it's going to be hard to clean out, and it's going to start breaking down that glue. So do try to be careful about keeping the paint on the tip of the brush. And here again, you can get heavier lines, you can get thin lines, you can get little brush stroke shapes like commas. It's all about pressure on your brush. Press a little bit, get the pressure, and then you can start lifting off and you're getting a thin line. So for different things that you're painting, flowers, petals, different things, you can always use pressure and then thin that paint up. And again, these are a great exercise to sit and just play with your brush strokes. It helps you get the consistency of the paint down a little bit. You'll know you need to add a little water if you want a really fine line. You're using your detail brushes, your round brushes, you want a fine line. It's very important to thin the paint down a little bit. You want it more of an ink consistency. And you'll be so surprised if you think, oh, well, I have a hard time, I can't paint a thin line. It's not you can't paint a thin line, it's that the paint consistency is a little bit too heavy. So keep that paint a little thin, and you can get really nice thin lines, but you also have the option of having a heavier line. So those are your round brushes in a variety of sizes, depending on what you're painting. Real versatile as well. If you only had to choose a couple of brushes, you want a few flats and rounds, you can get away with that with most anything. Now, these filberts, the little rounded tip, they are great. I love to use them for flower petals because they have that rounded edge. You can press your brush down, press, pull it up, and look, you get a nice rounded shape for a flower petal. Press and pull, press and pull. I go from the outside edge into the center. And there you go. You've got an adorable little flower, one brush, one paint, and it's the rounded edge. And those come in all sizes. You can get them as big as the flats that you have here in the set. If you really like your filberts, you could always add some sizes there to that. And that leaves us with the fan brush, which is really a lot of fun. I know it looks kind of funny, but if you want to use it for texture, for grass, so I'm going to just go right into my green paint here, and you can use it a little bit thicker paint too if you want for really getting that texture. So if you're doing grass, look at how fun is that? And then you can even go into a different color, get some different shades. And you can see by that, wouldn't that be good for fur as well? If you're doing fur or hair, that works as well. I use it for trees a lot. Say this is a tree trunk and I've got my fan brush. I can use it for the branches. It's real versatile. Like I said, if I'm painting pet portraits, I can use that for the fur. Really good for your landscape. So when we're doing some plein air painting and you're outside doing landscapes, you can use it just for texture. Say it's a beach scene and you want to just get a little bit of texture, but definitely great for branches and for grasses. Look at, I'm using it on the chisel edge even and getting a thinner line. And see how nice it is when you use a variety of the colors too. So there we are. There is a little demo of the different shapes and sizes of brushes that you have. And now I'm going to go ahead and show you how to properly take care of them. So first of all, you're going to rinse them well in your water here, like I said, and then you are going to pat them out. But let me take you over to the sink because I want to show you how to really clean your brushes well. And the key to the longevity of the brush life is taking care of them, and after your painting session, washing them out well. Okay, so I'm at the sink here now, and after your painting session, it's nice to rinse off your brushes with some soap. I have Dawn right here, that works. Dish soap, Ivory. If you have a bar of Ivory soap, it's great because you could just rub the bristles across that bar of that soap with some water. I would use Cool, but I'm just going to take my brushes that I've been using, and I'm just going to rub them in the palm of my hand, and you will find that you'll see color coming out of that brush that you thought was clean. So you might have rinsed off your brush in your water, but you'd be surprised when you're cleaning them, you might see more paint. So it's nice to take each of your brushes and just clean them up like that. Give them a good rinse. I pat them dry, and I would suggest lying them flat on a paper towel to dry. If you put them back in a container and they're upright like this, again, excess water is going to drip down into the ferrule, and you will be, finding some breakdown of your bristles. So I would dry them off best you can. And I also even add a little soap to reshape them, because that will act almost like the sizing that it came with. It'll just hold them in shape, especially your rounds. I'm trying to get a little bit of that soap back out. So especially your rounds, when they're all done being cleaned, just put a little soap on there, reshape them, lie them flat, and let them dry. That's how I take care of any of my brushes, whether they're my oil painting brushes, my watercolor brushes, that sort of thing. Is all lost if you have left your paint brush sitting out and the paint has dried on it? No, it really is not the end of the world. So here's a brush of mine that's not in great shape. It's pretty stiff. It's lost some of the nice soft texture of it. And like I mentioned about getting some paint off things that the paint is on and it's not coming off, rubbing alcohol. So I will just take, if I have some brushes that really need some attention, I will take some alcohol, put it in a little cup or what have you, and clean that out. So look at this brush. Look at all that pigment, that blue pigment. Apparently I painted blue and did not clean my brush out, but look at, it's taking out all of that extra paint. If they are, if it's a brush that has been sitting out and it's caked in paint, like this just had some residue in there, but if it's really caked with paint, I will take them and I will sit them in the alcohol for a good while. And then as it's breaking down some of that paint, I will start cleaning it off. And I have saved some some brushes that I thought were really far gone. There we have it. A little idea of what you can do with your brushes, and then the proper way to clean them. And then once they're dry, you could go ahead and put them in your cup or your brush holder or what have you. But that's a little demo on the care of your brushes.